Hello. Oh, that's loud. Hi, everyone. We're just going to get started. Feel free to get your food and hot cocoa while I start talking. My name is Stephanie, and this is my colleague, Selena. I'll just give you guys a quick introduction about who we are, why we're here before she starts with her presentation. We're with Korean American Family Services, also known as KFAM. We're an agency based in Koreatown. We provide various social services for Korean and Asian American families within the LA County and surrounding areas. So I'll just quickly list our departments and our services. We have our mental health department where we provide low-cost therapy for folks provided in English and Korean. We have our Asian Family Foster Initiative, also known as AFFI. We're the nation's only API-focused foster family agency. So we train and certify resource or foster parents to, have Asian foster kids in their homes. And we also recently got our adoption license. So that's something pretty cool that happened recently. And we're here specifically with our gender-based violence department. We work with Korean immigrant families affected by domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. So what our direct services look like, it might include legal aid, housing resources, job placements, just whatever helps our clients get back on their feet. And while we do have our direct services, we also focus a lot on community education. So we discuss a bunch of different topics surrounding, gender-based violence, mainly focusing on building healthy relationships and healthier families. Hence, one of our topics being the positive parenting. And yeah, that's kind of who we are. I'll pass the mic off to Selena, who will get us started. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Selena, like Stephanie introduced. Just a second, my screen went off, so. Just before we start, I wanted to let you know that we are actually having a sign-in sheet. And I was hoping that this could go around and have people sign in for us. And yeah, let me get this up before it goes. But nice to see you all today. My name is Selena again, and we are from KFAM. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about the power of positive parenting. And this is like one of the first out of few that we actually have for seminars. And we will be starting with the principles of positive parenting, and I hope you find this session informative and helpful. During this presentation, we will first take a look about our the hopes and dreams we have as we become parents, and then we'll then talk about some realities of raising children and being a parent. Then we'll be talking about children's behavior, which can be one of the toughest parenting challenges. And I'll then introduce you to positive parenting and the 5 principles or ideas behind this approach to being a parent. My presentation will take about an hour, and at the end there will be about 30 minutes for discussion and questions. When most of people become parents, they have high hopes about becoming parents and a lot of dreams for their children. Most parents are very optimistic and that they will do a good job and that they will be a parent with positive experience and that they will raise a healthy, well-adjusted children who have the skills to communicate their needs, get on well with others, try to do their best at school and in other activities such as sports and hobbies, and manage their emotions and feel good about themselves. If we accomplish all of these and create a safe, secure, and loving and low conflict environment for our children, we should be very pleased with our efforts. Keep forgetting about. It is extremely rewarding and enjoyable to be a parent, but it is always not easy. Parenting can be very demanding, frustrating, and exhausting. Parents have the important role of raising the next generation, yet most of us begin parenting unprepared for what lies ahead of us. We all have to learn as we go. It is important to understand that there is no single right way to be a parent. Ultimately, it is up to you as a parent to decide what values, skills, and behaviors you want to encourage your child and to develop your own approach to parenting. Most parents do not apply for this job. We are looking for one couple to raise a child. No experience is necessary. Applicants must be available 24/7 and must provide food, shelter, clothing, and supervision. No training provided. No salary. Applicants pay at least $180,000 over the next 18 years. And accidental applications accepted. Single parents may apply, but it should be, but you guys need to be prepared for twice the work if a single person. This doesn't sound pleasing at all, honestly. Good news. It's not good news, but we are bombarded with messages about how difficult and demanding being a parent is. Shock tactics may make being a parent appear hazardous and fraught with danger. It is no wonder that fewer people are becoming parents and that many are having children much later. Okay. So good news is that most parents do a good job. A majority of parents report that they are confident on being a parent, on their parenting methods, and that they find it rewarding and fulfilling. And the majority of families do have well-adjusted children, but no one says that parenting will be easy. One of all the things that parents have to do, dealing with children's behavior, can be the most stressful. Sorry if I sound a little nasally. I'm recovering from a cold, so I could hear myself doing that, but all children do test their limits at times, and that can be a challenge to parents. Our expectations are very important here. Some difficult behavior is normal, and some parenting traps are inevitable. But if we can effectively manage the common daily, everyday behavior problems such as disobedience, fighting, and refusing to go to bed when children are young, we can prevent more serious problems such as lying, stealing, getting into trouble at school, and involvement in drugs from developing from later on. Simply wishing and hoping that children will grow out of their behavioral problems will not make it happen. Okay, so positive parenting. So I have a lot of people asking what is exactly positive parenting, because we hear them a lot on social media and different parenting methods, but the positive parenting I'm talking about is an approach to raise children that aims to help children develop and manage their behavior and emotions in a positive and non-hurtful way. It is based on strong, nurturing relationships, good communications, and positive attention. Positive parenting includes emphasizing and focusing on the positive, planning ahead to prevent problems, and using everyday situations and experiences to help children learn and to motivate them, and creating opportunities for children to learn and to develop new skills. Okay, so a lot of ask, so what's the benefit of it? Benefits for children are that when they experience positive parenting, they are most likely to develop their skills, do well at school, build friendships, and feel good about themselves. Children who grow up with positive parenting are also likely to have fewer behavioral and emotional problems and are less likely to become involved in drug abuse or delinquent behavior. So what's the benefit for parents? There should be a benefit for parents. Some of the benefits for parents include feeling more confident and competent in their role as a parent, feeling less depressed, feeling less stressed, having less conflict with their partner, and having less conflict with their children. So let's look at some skills that children need to do well. They include having good communication, language, and social skills, being able to manage their emotions and feelings. This means that children need to learn how to cope with all sorts of feelings such as excitement, frustration, disappointment. Children also need to learn how to calm themselves when they get upset or angry, and how to express their feelings appropriately without hurting others. Being able to do things for themselves and become independent in basic skills such as dressing and getting ready to go out. Being able to solve problems and for themselves is the last skill. And okay, so there are 5 skills, key principles of positive parenting that can help children learn these necessary skills. Creating a loving, safe, and interesting environment by being involved and responsive and having a lot of interesting things for children to do. This involves supervising children and knowing where they are, who they are with, and what they are doing at all times. Having a positive learning environment. This means that environment is supportive and nurturing, and where children's effort are acknowledged, and where they are received plenty of praise, attention, and encouragement. Adults need to know how to respond when children approach them and want to talk to them or showing them something. It is important to recognize that these times are opportunities for learning for children. And using assertive discipline. This means being fair, consistent, establishing rules, and having the confidence to enforce them by backing up what you say. Discipline is not a bad thing if you use it the right way. So this is something that I like to focus on a lot of for a lot of parents when they come to me to get one-on-one parenting classes, to actually tell them what the proper way of discipline is. And another thing is, all of these principles work the best when parents have realistic expectations of themselves and from their children. For example, expecting a 5-year-old child to supervise a toddler around deep water, such as a river, beach, or swimming pool, with minimal adult supervision is inappropriate, as someone could be seriously hurt. Expecting that we as parents will be perfect and never make a mistake is also unrealistic. Nobody's perfect, and everyone learns through trial and error. And lastly, it is really important, take care of yourself as a parent. Your ability to be a positive, fair, patient, and calm and consistent is increased when we look after our own needs and for intimacy, privacy, support, and having a break from our children here and there. So let's look at the first principle in more detail. The first principle is having a safe and interesting environment. Creating a safe, interesting environment involves the following strategies: being available and have predictable daily routines within your family, ensuring that your child is safe and supervised at all time, and make sure your child has plenty of interesting things to do. Some tips to encourage your child's safety are: teach your child road safeties and to look and listen and think about traffic. Provide appropriate clothing and safety equipments for the children's activities at that situation. And take care near schools and other busy places. Never let your child out of a vehicle if in an unsafe place. Teach your child about the danger of talking to strangers, and discuss what to do if they felt unsafe. The benefits. The benefits of creating a safe, interesting environment are that children feel secure and wanted, are safe, live in a predictable world, and have a lot of interesting things to do, and have opportunities to learn and experience success. When your child is in a safe, interesting environment, you can be more relaxed about parenting, and your child can keep busy and develop their skills without risking of hurting someone. I have a lot of parents talk to me about having a lot of interesting things to do for children, and it is hard. That means like more work to you and more prep time for you, but it is at the end very useful in a sense, because children wouldn't be bored and then start acting out. That's the part. Once children get bored, they will start to try to get your attention when it's an inappropriate time, and so that's why I focus a lot with parents. It's like, please make sure that your child has a lot of like interesting things to do. Carry around puzzles or something. Like, there's a lot of ideas. Okay, so the next principle is having a positive learning environment. Okay, so let's look at some key strategies for having positive learning environment. Make time for your child. Comment on your child's play activities or observe often. Speak nicely to your child. Using a pleasant voice goes a long way. Chat and listen often. Make time to hear the stories of every child in the family. And share your own experiences often. Sharing a highlight of your day, tell your child about something you noticed, and talk about these things. They may be interested in it. You give a lot of attention. Hugs, kisses, cuddles make children feel wanted and loved. And giving attention really depends on the child too. So a child really might like hugs, but they might not want kisses. So if a child comes to the point where they could express it, like respecting that boundary for them too is also very important, but also giving the attention that they want. And use descriptive praise so your child knows exactly what they have done that you appreciate. Praise works best when it is genuine. This means that so praise is good in general, but I like descriptive praise because children know what they did good. When a child just picks up a trash and then throws it out to the trash bin, and if a parent just says, good job, like the child doesn't know exactly what they did good. But if you say, oh, you picked up the trash, thank you for doing that, then they know they did a good job, and then they're gonna probably repeat that later on as it goes. And give plenty of attention, such as winking, smiling, or just watching. These all convey approval and care. Use incidental teaching when your child approaches you with something. They are often motivated to learn, motivated and ready to learn. For example, when your child brings something to show you, such as a painting, stop what you're doing, look at your child's eye and smile, and ask them to tell you about the painting and what they like about it. Make an interesting comment about the painting. For example, the use of colors, textures. In this way, children are encouraged to continue the activity, and they learn to describe their experiences more clearly. And get involved in your child's school as much as you can. The next principle is to use assertive discipline. I just briefly mentioned about it too. But assertive discipline is being involved being consistent, acting quickly when problems happen, and teaching children to recognize and manage their feelings and behave in an acceptable way. It involves staying calm and use fair, predictable consequences that match the problem behavior. Children need discipline. Assertive discipline helps children learn to accept necessary rules and limits, develop control over their emotions, consider others, express their feelings in appropriate ways that respects the needs of others, and take responsibility for their actions. Discipline works best when children live in a predictable world and receive plenty of attention for good behavior. It is necessary for parents to have reasonable expectations and use fair, consistent, and predictable discipline from one day to the next. Assertive discipline is most effective when parents and care supporters use each other and use the same approach to the discipline. Okay, so this is something that I do talk a lot about. But so there's a lot of strategies going into assertive discipline, but the most important thing is preparing for situations in advance, meaning being organized, avoid last-minute rushing, and getting everything you need ahead of time. Ensure your child has something to do. This is the activity part that I was talking about. But take activities with you, particularly for times when or places where there's little things for children to do. Some get and don't forget to get some ground rules. Explain and discuss 2 or 3 simple rules that you would like your children to follow in a particular situation. Pay attention when your child is behaving well, when they are being cooperative and are following rules. Congratulate them and praise them, especially when they are learning something new. Watch and supervise. Make sure your child see your child, and so that if any problem do arise, then you deal with it straight away. You don't forget to use planned ignoring for minor problem behaviors, and that is designed to get attention. And use your voice effectively. Get close, stay calm, and use a firm voice. I see a lot of parents struggling with situations like they're out with relatives eating at a restaurant or a place that children could get bored. I remember growing up, my church did not really have like a kids room separate when I was growing up, so churches could get boring for like a young toddler. So I was getting there's a lot of behaviors that could come up, like screaming, yelling, and like nagging moms, dads, like, "Mom, I'm bored," or like, "Let's go to the bathroom," or those behaviors are attention seeking. So just having activities in advance for them, and then sometimes like you just need to ignore the problem behaviors a little bit if it's not too major of an issue. And once you have some rules placed in, you need to be prepared to enforce them. There are a number of options for this. Using the directed discussion to deal with rule breaking. Ask your child to tell you what the rule is and what rule that they broke, and get them to practice what they should have done. Give clear, calm instructions to let your child know what you have to, what you want them to do. Give clear Another thing is the start instructions are used to tell your child to begin an activity or behavior such as turn the TV off, please, and come to the bath or something. Stop instructions are used when problem behavior is happening and you want that your child to stop doing something. For example, stop jumping on the couch and you can jump outside if you want. Some backups for not following instructions include taking a problem activity away from the child or the child away from the activity for a short period. You can return the activity or child and try them again for a later time. Another thing is quiet time. You have your child sit in a chair or on the floor for 2 to 3 minutes. If they are ignoring, and if they ignore the start instruction, this comes after the instructions, and timeout is something that a lot of parents know of, but timeout is more for serious problems such as extreme temper outburst or hurting others, or as a backup if your child is not quiet in quiet time. Take your child to a safe, quiet area away from that place where the problem occurred and wait for them to be quiet for maybe around 2 minutes. Both quiet time and timeout is not intended to use for a long time period for children. It really depends on the child, but the younger the child is, it's a shorter time, like maybe like a minute. And then as the child they get older, you could increase the time that you use, but it's never expected to be used for like 30 minutes or an hour. Okay. The positive parenting strategies work best when you have fair and realistic expectations of your child and yourself. Okay. To check if your expectations are realistic, ask yourself, what rules or expectations do I have? Is this rule necessary, or could we get by without it? Also, check out what other parents expect of their children at the same age and what the school expects of your child. Compared to other parents, and are you expecting too much or too little? Just always good to check. And finally, ask yourself, are my expectations of myself reasonable? When we have very high standards and we expect a lot from ourselves, it creates a lot of stress. Extra stress that you don't need. It's already stressful raising a child, so you don't need to force on yourself. And the final principle is taking care of yourself. Parenting is easier when our needs are being met. This principle involves a number of different skills, including balancing work and family commitments, talking back to negative thinking, and getting support for your parenting by working as a team. For working parents, one of the first things to consider is getting the right balance between work and home. Here are some ideas on how to achieve a good balance. At work, have realistic expectations of yourself. Excessive workload can add extra stress. If your work is worrying you a lot or causing stress on the family, try to reassess your priorities. It is a hard day to try to reassess work, but it isn't, at the end of the day, is it really to the question of like, is family important? What can we change about it? And then, is work causing too much stress? What can we do about that? And being prepared to reduce unnecessary or unreasonable commitments, such as reducing working hours if possible, and limiting other activities, such as not coaching your sports team for a season. Develop a good transition time routine for before and after work. This way, everyone is prepared and know what exactly to expect. Try to avoid conflicts in the difficult time when people get home and get ready for a second shift, helping with work, homework, preparing dinner, getting ready, children ready for bed. Plan a strategy to get through the difficult times, such as it's like a period before dinner time or something, like, just so that you're not putting too much load in that transition time. Teach your child to be independent and to have some responsibility in getting themselves ready for the day. This includes getting dressed, using the toilet, cleaning their teeth, brushing their hair, having breakfast, and getting things they need to do for school. Organize reliable before school and after school care if you really need to. Parents find it easier to relax and focus on work if they are happy and happy with how is looking after their child. Okay, and our parenting is greatly affected by our emotions. When we are feeling stressed, angry, depressed, or anxious, it is hard to be a patient, calm, and consistent with children as a parent. The key to reducing is talking back to negative thinking. This, the things that we say to ourselves about your children can affect how we react. Consider the following: unhelpful thoughts often blame the often blame on the child, are negative and global, and often catastrophic. Helpful thoughts are more unrealistic. Look at different reasons for situations and focus on behavior rather than on the child. There is a problem behavior, but the child is not always bad. Helpful thoughts, just needing helpful thoughts can help us stay calm, feel better about ourselves, using our positive parenting strategies, and identify the problem. So identifying the problem and the solution helps a lot. Okay. So to learn to talk back to negative thinking, try these steps. Notice times when you are feeling upset or angry with your child. Identify what negative or unhelpful things you are saying to yourself about the situation, particularly about why it is happening. Negative explanations for child's actions usually refer to some negative trait of the child, such as he's really nasty and always deliberately tries to upset his brother. Consider use negative thoughts, counter the negative thoughts with more helpful, rational thought. There is always a reason behind the child's behavior, so thinking about that helps a lot with trying to approach it more in a calm but firm way. Okay, and parenting is easier when parents and caretakers work as a team, and like backing each other up it really helps. The following strategies may help. Talk with your partner or other caretakers about daily experiences with your child. This keeps everyone involved and informed. Try to share the workload fairly. Be prepared to discuss and negotiate who does what around the house and in caring for your child. Also, it is important for children to know, for your child to know what to expect. Reach agreements between caretakers and methods of discipline and backing each other up with that. Also, help your child learn to solve problems by using problem-solving skills yourself and having regular family problem-solving discussions. A good way that I personally used while working on different jobs was having a little like a child journal that the parents or caretakers fill out. So let's say your child is going to preschool, and then daycare after that, and then come to parents or something. Having whoever is involved on taking care of your child, like write a quick 2 to 3 lines of what happened at the child's day. Like the child was having a lot of tummy aches, or like, so that like it's not major issues, but like how the day went for the child, so that you are up to date with what your child is going through. And this helped a lot because like, we kind of knew that the child woke up with a bad mood, and that we're expected to be like, okay, like the child might be throwing some tantrums here and there, like not the biggest issue if they do. So just knowing about that. Let's look back at the key take-home messages. Parenting is more enjoyable when you make your child and your family a priority. Look at parenting as an opportunity to grow with your child. You can get support for your parenting by meeting with other parents and getting involved in programs such as, I use the program we call through TFPC, so like the positive parenting methods. And remember, the key aspect of positive parenting are creating a warm, loving, safe environment for your child, using positive strategies to encourage your child's learning, using assertive discipline to help your child take responsibility for their actions, having reasonable expectations for both your child and yourself, and take care of yourself by looking after what your own needs, changing negative thinking, and working as a team. Okay. If you have any questions, please let me know. I think we have a mic, right? Yep.
Check 1, check 2. Yes, we do.
If anyone has questions, and yes. No pressure.
So hi, my name is Caroline. I have a question. We live in a multi-generational home. We live with my mother-in-law, so grandma, and my husband and our children. I think one of the things that have become an issue sometimes in our home is, when our parenting style is different from grandma's parenting style. And then, there's then a conflict between, my husband and his mom. And my worry is that, when my husband is upset at his own mother, that it's setting a bad example to our kids, right? Mm-hmm. But how do we navigate that? When, our parenting style is definitely different from, grandma's, and there's a generational difference as well. So how do we, what advice can you give to our family in that sense, in trying to juggle? We want to respect our elders, but at the same time, times have changed. Our expectations of what needs to be done, in society have changed too from when she was a parent. We know a lot more about research about parenting and what works. So things have changed, but how do we do that but still be respectful of, grandma or grandparents, and, what their wishes are, how they want to support our kids, but also, make sure that ultimately we're the parents, right? But also, how do we model being good children to our parents in that situation? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, it does. Thank you for your question. So I am a first-generation Korean, so I do understand the generation gap between, and expectations are different for every family. Definitely, our parents' generation of raising kids are definitely different from what we expect from children right now in this generation. So it is definitely hard, but I would first say to have clearly come up with what you expect with your parenting style. Like your husband also has an expectation of what he wants to do as a parent and what he expects from children. Everyone's different. I mean, we are all family, but because there's individual people, our ideas are always going to be different. So I would really recommend having writing down, or just making a clear list of what you expect. through parenting. Like, what am I expecting from me, my child? What am I expecting from my parents, in-laws? And also, like, this is like the hardest thing for me and personally, but sometimes boundaries are needed. The boundaries need to be clearly communicated with other people. It is super hard to do that. I do understand that. So I think we mentioned briefly about family problem solving time. I would also bring that up as like, hey, let's sit down and we're not trying to fight, but I want to clearly communicate these are my expectations. I'm trying to be respectful and I want to clearly communicate what we could do about our differences. Because you did mention that it is at the end of the day, your children is your child. The in-laws are thankfully being around and helping out, but it is your child. It's up to you on what values you want to pass down to your child. So I would really recommend like sitting down, having a calm, respectful, like problem-solving discussion time, because generations have changed, parenting styles are very different, and we don't want to hurt our child, like we're children. So I don't know if that helps a lot, but yeah, hopefully it helped. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, thank you for that earlier question. I thought it was really good. I think I just want to speak on just that same vein. I think it's a step further. It's not just a generational difference, but it's a cultural difference as well. I think, you know, for most of us here, growing up in the westernized world, you know, we obviously we're going to be kind of more used to and more favorable to, you know, more Western ways. But I think recently I saw like an Instagram reel of like a Korean or like a Korean, you know, young parent, and they were kind of like scolding their child, you know, on reel, and it was from like a Western, you know, point of view. It was. I was taken a little aback, you know. So I don't really have a specific question, but I think it's good to be cognizant of just how sometimes the differences can be quite noticeable. And I think it also puts us as Asian Americans, you know, removed from, you know, like I don't know, like growing up in like a Western culture. We have to make mental decisions and we have to navigate, you know, how to get through, you know, situations like where there's another person, you know, parenting in a way where, you know, we're uncomfortable with. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I don't really have a question. I'd love to kind of hear more about that, but just like, you know, noticing differences, and you know how, you know, to navigate that. So like specifically like the real, and you know, I'm sure most Koreans know it's like honne, right? Like you're honneing the child, but you know, I don't like. It's not what we're used to, you know, like what we want to do, you know. And when I saw like the little kid in tears, you know, and I just felt a little uncomfortable, you know. So I don't know. You know, I don't have a question nor like a clear-cut solution to it, but I think it's good to be cognizant of the differences and to just like know how to navigate it yourself, you know, and just I don't know, figure it out. So maybe just hear some more thoughts on that from you, and yeah.
Thank you for your thought. Yes, it is very different. Culturally, generationally, there are differences, and accepting that there is a difference between different parents is really important to accept, because at the end of the day, children do need discipline, and but there's a different method on how doing discipline, and it's such a gray line to cross, I think. So I think personally, I think it's important to accept that there is a difference between families because of culture, generation, or gender-wise. There's a difference, and it's super hard to go navigate through that because I was raised in like a pure like Korean. In Korea, I was raised in Korea by a very old mindset of parenting. And now when I was like starting to learn about this and when I'm practicing these parenting methods, I could see what went wrong in the past. And I'm like, oh, like this could have been better. But I think it's really important that, oh, like now I do realize that there is a difference from the start and that, oh, like what can I improve based on the past mistakes? Parents were doing the best that they can back then with the information that they knew about. That doesn't mean that it's always right. So just accepting that there's differences, and I think your thought is really a question for the long run, because there's no really one clear answer to that, and you just have to work with the best that you have at the moment. And just the strategies, the key principles that I talked about, they are one thing that could help your parenting methods to become easier. And sorry, I don't have a really good, clear answer to that, but the best I could say is that just gather all the information that helps you on the way, and just acknowledge that there is a difference between families, generations, and I don't know. I hope that helped. And there's one question in the back, I think. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I think your response actually really gives the insights, like defining the conflict or different perspective as a difference versus the who's right or wrong. I think that's some principles that I'm taking away as my takeaway. I think whether it's generational or whether even like husband and wife, Korean culture or American culture, instead of, oh, like you're right, you're wrong, versus that you're different. And I think especially as a mother or a father of a child, I think we should be able to say to our parents that, yeah, you and I are thinking differently, but this is how I want, even in front of our children, and then give why, this is why we want. I think defining it as a difference is very insightful.
Oh, thank you for your comment. Yes, it is very important, and I really say this a lot. I don't think there might be a better way of dealing with situations, or there might be a clear wrong answer in your standard, but it is definitely at the end of the day a difference. And I think it's really important to show children that you could solve a conflict between even parents by sitting down, talking about it, not yelling at each other and not being mad at each other, but being able to calmly figure this out helps children learn just by observing a lot. Just the fact that, like, oh, my parent had a disagreement with someone, but they were not getting upset about it, but they were able to just find the cause of the problem and actually try to find a solution for it. I learned that I could do that as myself too. And so that it's like a really good learning opportunity for children. So just accepting that it's a difference is, like, I think a very important first step to a lot of parents. Yes.
So my question is, so I read a little bit about parenting, and it was described in a book that kids act out because of unmet needs, whether they're tired or physical needs or emotional needs that are unmet, so they act out, is what the book described to me. I think it's only partially true because as a Christian believer, I do believe that, we all we have this tendency to rebel or be sinful. And even if my child has all their needs met and they're not hungry and they slept well and they had a good day, I think there is a possibility that they could just simply be selfish or just don't feel like doing what mommy or daddy said at that moment. And that's okay. I think that's very normal. But as a parent, I believe that's time when I have to teach them that it is sin. Like, this is something that is selfish that you're doing. And so I just was wondering how, you might do that in a positive way. Yeah.
Thank you for your question. That's very important because, children could be really random, in my view. That, like, yes, they have all their needs met, but they're still acting out. It's frustrating to see that. It's quite annoying to see that because you're trying to do something or you're trying to be the parent and try to teach them, but sometimes it just is frustrating to you at the end of the day. I like to use the very clear communication of I did to go over the start instruction and stop instruction, but children, at the end of the day, you're the adult in the relationship, so I do tell a lot of parents that patience come first. It seems like they're testing us a lot often, but I do say that just let them know clearly, calmly, in a firm voice, stop what they need to be doing, and then what you expect. Tell them what you expect. A lot of parents tell children what to stop, but they don't tell what to do instead. Let's say a child is going nuts and running around in circles or something. I don't know. That could happen, but and you just tell them stop running, and then if you need to do if you have a lot of energy, tell them to I don't know, go on the trampoline or something instead, or if you stop running and do this instead, play with a toy instead, just moving that energy to something else that could help benefit them is what I recommend a lot, because they're still gonna be doing that problem behavior because of something. It's either oh, I wanna annoy my parents, or oh, I really just have a lot of energy or something. Does that kind of answer the question? Because I always try to say to parents that kids need to have a replacement behavior if you want to stop a particular problem behavior. And that communicating them very clearly about that to them too.
Hi, this is not a question, more of kind of like a confirmation of something that was said there. I don't know if it's just Korean fathers, but they tend to raise their voice. You know what I mean? Instead of that, 따뜻한, that more softer voice. And I'm blessed. My son is not a problem. He's a sweetheart, but he's overly sensitive. And so I wanted to share that sometimes my husband, when he goes from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. It's just they don't mean it, but it comes out like screaming, and that actually kind of terrifies my son. And I can say the exact same thing, but in a very calm demeanor, and then he just responds better. So a lot of the Korean, even mothers and fathers, when they scream, it really does traumatize the kids. So I wanted to encourage people just to really watch how they say, because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that's what I found to be true. And it's tough, because when you're impatient, when they forget after you remind them 10 times, you just want to scream. But and I realized that my son has attention issues, so it's not that he wants to forget, he just forgets. And so do I. So that's one thing that a lot of, that they say that the K-rage, it is real. We Koreans have, or just people in general, we just have a temper, and everything is urgent, everything's pali, and now, and you scream. So if we could just put ourselves in their shoes, because we're huge compared to these little kids. When they're looking up, they're looking at a giant, and then someone screaming, it's a big thing. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for your comment. Yes, K-rage is a very big thing. And yes, Yara, did you have a question?
Oh, yeah, I have a question. Hi. Thank you. I found everything so informative. My question is, what if you have communication challenges with the child because of a disability, or they might be on the spectrum or have ADHD? I actually couldn't communicate with my son until he was in 2nd grade, until we started getting therapy and going on meds for those attention issues. And even after seeking all those treatments, oftentimes it's hard to have conversation where what I'm saying goes through. Do you have practical advice as to how I can talk to them?
Thank you for your question. First of all, it must be really hard for you going through that, because it's hard. It's really frustrating if you can't talk to your child and your child's not responding to you really well. I hope this helps, because I actually come from a background where I did work with children that have developmental disabilities, and every child has a different way of communicating, especially if they have some sort of developmental disability of some sort. And it takes a lot of trial and error. It really does. And one of the common hardships that I had when I was communicating with them was they did not really communicate their feelings, because they have a hard time just talking in general, that it's harder for them to express their feelings too. So if it's okay, do you have for example kind of thing that you have a hard time, or in general communicating? If you don't feel comfortable, just let me know. But
So I think it's in one ear, out the other.
okay.
For about 9 out of the 10 things that I say. And he responds, he gives a verbal response to tell me that, he heard me, but it just doesn't stick. And so everything is a struggle, trying to get through mealtime, trying to get through bedtime routines. Even if I'm there, helping him through all the steps, it just, nothing seems to, stick.
Totally. And so routine-wise, I'm going to give you an example of routine. Children in general have a hard time dealing with routines. They tend to forget a lot. But it's especially harder, I think, for your case too. But I would have a lot of the cases that come based on what I experienced. I had just a lot of visual cues. Let's say for mealtime, what do you need? I have if your child does not have a harder time reading, maybe just use pictures, picture prompts or something. I would have every routine possible just stuck everywhere, because that's just a child. You can tell them what are you supposed to do? If you don't remember, go look at the routine. What do you need to do? Or just having a lot of prompts, and then slowly getting rid of those visual or verbal cues. It takes Sue a lot of time. I understand it takes frustratingly a lot of time to commit to that, but for example, I was dealing with a child that had autism, and the child just had a hard time just remembering stuff, similar to your case, especially in doing schoolwork and bathroom times, any bathroom related stuff. So I just had a list of stuff that the child need to do regarding schoolwork, and then if the child did it, I had them like cross it out or erase it, like mark it with a pencil of some sort. Bathroom stuff, I had them go through the steps, that the picture prompts that they had on this wall. It's for those cases, like just you need to do a trial and error with your child. There's no clear answer that I could give you at all, but just working with your child on seeing what works the best with your child. If like a child could say like I do better if they are picking out cards. I'm like, oh, I need to do this. Oh, I'm gonna finish it and put it back or something. Like it's just using a lot of different methods to work with your child. Hopefully it helps.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Can I give it what do you call it? I don't even know I can't even talk today. Advice. So when my kid was young, I mean even like 2 years old, how I motivated him to do things because he would forget, is I found something that he really wanted, like a Mack truck, and it was $100. Well, I'd put a big old chart with 100 squares, and every time he did something, I would get a sticker or put a stamp. And if I wouldn't take away, but he wouldn't, if he didn't do it, then he didn't get the stamp. Because if you take it away, he cried over that one sticker that I erased. So don't do that. But it really, positive reinforcement, it really motivated him to do, and then he also realized the value of money, because he didn't just get the toy, he had to earn it. So then he also took really good care of it. So that was something that I did that worked for me.
Thank you. That you pointed out the very important part is that when you are doing reward systems for a positive behavior, it is important to not take away when they did something wrong. Instead of, I would use planned ignoring at that point and just say, oh, if he's throwing a temper tantrum because of something, and while he was supposed to, let's say, pick up his clothes and put it in the basket or something, like, instead of that, he's throwing a temper tantrum because he doesn't want to pick it up. At that point, it does help to ignore until they calm down and prompt them again to tell them, pick up your clothes and put it in the basket. Like, just having a firm voice, it goes a long way. Like, you don't have to be like bubbly soft and like, like, oh, like you don't have to do that to your child, but just be firm with them, and then they, like, at longer run, children understand that parents are not joking around, and that you just need to do this behavior to earn something. Let's say a sticker to get like 10 stickers and get a prize or some sort. So it's really important that, like, yes, parents we're prone to yelling at children or just being really loud, but children don't need to be yelled at. Just using a firm voice, like repeating your prompts when necessary, and just being calm with them, but you don't have to be soft necessarily. Soft is good too, but like being firm is very important. And I always tell parents 5-second rule. Just wait 5 seconds, and then before you want to yell at them, and then just wait 5 seconds to see if they're responding or after a prompt. Like, oh, I set a prompt, 5 seconds, and then, oh, they're not responding or they seem distracted. Like, what's going on? Let's do that again with a calm voice, if that helps. Any other questions? Seems like we're coming to... If anyone needs, if any have like questions that they want to ask me directly, I will let. I have my information in the hallway. There's a paper that has like my information on it. I do provide one-on-one parenting classes, virtually and in person. I know I'm located in K-Town, so it's a little bit of drive. So a lot of parents do prefer remote and virtually, but I do have that available if any want. And I hope you had a good time today, and thank you for coming. And hopefully, you could have a good rest of the day. Oh, sorry, before I end, I do have a survey to see how I did presenting. If you are all willing to fill that out for me, I would really appreciate that. And don't forget to sign in, please, for the seminar. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before we end, I am so sorry, Pastor. Hi, my name is Sunny Kim. I'm a gender-based violence program director. Thank you, Selena, for this amazing presentation. And like you heard her, she does have a lot of practical tips. And I do know that she had tons of topics and materials that she can provide when you need it. So, if you want specific, I know she has a big fad materials on discipline. If you guys want additional one, we can just let her know. Did you bring your business card, by the way?
I didn't bring enough.
Great. Okay.
There's a paper that has my information on it.
You can take them, and then ask her or us, even myself, for additional seminar education. If you want your own parents to hear this in Korean, just to have a same message within the family, we do have that too. We do have that too. So feel free to reach out to us. And we are here. It's free, right? And the only reason that we can do this is that we get the grant from the government. And for us to be able to continue this work, we really need you sign in, sign the sign-in sheet, so that we could continue this work. So it would be really appreciated if you can sign in to our sign-in sheet. Thank you.
Let's give a hand to all K-Fam. Thank you so much. To end the seminar, I would like to close us in prayer. So can we bow our heads real quick, and then I'll close us. Dear Lord, we want to thank you, Lord, for your wisdom and insight, conviction. Thank you, Lord, for making us in your image and giving us the example that you've given us. Through Scripture, oh Lord, bless every parent here. Give them the tools necessary, help them to make the wise decisions when to and when not to do various things. I pray, Lord, that all good information that was displayed here, that it would enrich us and soak in us and bear great fruit in our families, Lord. So bless us all, Lord. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.